AskReddit by Closer Solid. Which movie completely falls apart in its third act? The B movie. Suddenly after winning the court case, it seems the plot is over, so they come up with a completely new problem and it's suddenly a different movie. I put it on to watch a bee and a woman make sweet love and what I get is Mandevillian bourgeoisie propaganda. Downsizing. Already bonkers, but the final part really came out of nowhere. That movie just couldn't decide what it wanted to be. If they focused one or two of the themes instead of shoehorning in like 20, with no real resolution to any of them, it could have been really good. Hancock's final third was hot garbage. It was like 3 different short films that just had the same actors, but little else to do with each other. Glass. Now don't get me wrong, I actually still like the movie. But the ending kind of ruins what was a seemingly pretty well thought out and realistic sequel. I loved the slow build up of the first 2 acts. Catching up with David Dunn and his kid after all this time and seeing how he reacts to the beast and seeing what happened to Elijah Price's character was really interesting, having to sedate him because he's too smart. But the ending pulled a bait and switch and then made some somewhat poor decisions for these characters. I both admire it, but 20 years was a long time to wait for what we got. I don't think the first 2 acts gets enough credit, but I can understand the mixed reception for the third act for sure. Deleted. Rafe breaks the internet. It's not the worst offender, but the third act is so over the top and cheesy while shoving theme down our throats. I think the worst part is that there's no continuity from the last film. It's like Rafe lost all his character growth and regressed to a child, and now the movie you want with characters you already got to know don't exist. Eh boy. Law-abiding citizen. Yes. A film that started superbly, really was excellent, totally fell apart on the last part. Fucking shocking how they ruined this. Ugh. A lot of people didn't like the end of Sorry to Bother You. I loved the absurdity. I'm with you there. Love Edgar Wright and I love that he got to do Last Night in Soho, but that third act is so poor compared to the first 2. I need to revisit it, but my buddy and I left the theater underwhelmed by the ending. This was the exact movie that came to mind when I saw this thread. It just got too weird, like it wanted to be a legit, serious thriller, and then suddenly decided to be a campy horror movie for the last 20 minutes. Changed the whole tone and atmosphere that was so meticulously set up. Knowing. What exactly was the point of Cage knowing and saving all of those lives, if that was going to be the ending? My favorite terrible movie. Sphere. Unpopular opinion, but I love that movie, including, and especially because of, its ending. How has no one said Titanic? It absolutely fell apart in the third act. Absolute sinking ship. Movie basically breaks in half under the weight of all the expectations it sets up, and all the characters it gives you, and for what? By the end, most of those characters are just gone without a trace. Insidious. Outstanding and terrifying first third half. The end was just silly. The monster demon reveal turned it into a joke. Looked like Darth Maul or some shit I like. Fantastic. OP said third act. That movie didn't have one. It was 80% first act, 20% second act, and then it ended. Orphan first kill. The beginning is great, and the twist is brilliant. After that it just gets more and more cartoonish. The Roof was soft tar. Cleaver had a great third act though, hard to believe it was the same writer. The Haunting, the one with Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson, Catherine Zeta etc. Fantastic remake right up until they show the silly grandpa ghost. I couldn't take this movie seriously from the first time Owen Wilson said wow, so it became a comedy movie from then on. The Dark Knight Rises, very underwhelmed. Bruce Wayne spent months in a hole in the ground, crawled out of it, and traveled halfway across the world to face Bane and take revenge for what he did to Gotham. Oh boy, here we go, the showdown. I wonder what Batman is going to finally say to him. No, I came to stop you. Dart. Just before those guys get attacked by the shark in the beach I stop watching. Book is well worth reading, way better. Law-abiding citizen would have been a great movie if its ending wasn't so bad. They set it up as him being the master tactician. One of the best, if not the best, minds in the country. There's no way that character fails in that way. War of the Worlds 2005. The atmosphere the movie creates is so bleak, and the hill scene is one of the best scenes ever. The ending just zaps all the struggle from the movie with his ex-wife, her parents and his son being alive still. I do like how they stuck to the book's original ending, instead of inventing some fake Tom Cruise big action climax type scene. Red Eye. Or thriller directed by Wes Craven, A Nightmare on Elm Street, which stars Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. It was a great thriller in the style of Hitchcock where McAdams' character makes overall intelligent decisions, trying to get out of a bad situation, but is constantly thwarted by Murphy's character. And then the plane lands and it turns into some stupidly idiotic action movie. The part where he is hiding behind the door was a really good jump scare, if I have to give the third act any credence. Snowman. Listen to the How Did This Get Made about that movie. From what I remember, the movie was never actually entirely filmed and they just used what they could to cobble together some semblance of a movie, but that was the intention. Like the director didn't finish filming but felt he had enough anyway. It's a weird story surrounding that movie. That movie with Nick Cage and all the weird numbers. Knowing lol. I like that one, but you're totally right. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Suddenly aliens trans-dimensional beings. I mean, it wasn't a great movie before that but it was watchable. That twist just made it god-awful. My brother told me to stop watching when they went over the cliff and never finish it. I turned the movie off and really enjoyed it. I went back later and watched the rest of the movie. And he was right. It didn't completely fall apart but that new Hunger Games film kinda fell off a bit in the third act. He was just a lot hotter when he had hair. He kind of looked like Slim Shady with the short hair and I couldn't unthink that when I was watching it.